podcast in town. The only podcast around. We got our intro so good.
You guys
that
know
time.
what time it is? It's gaming time. Let's get right to it.
He changes it
It's
every
interchangeable.
It goes from
both.
it's gamer time to it's gaming
It
time.
depends. Right now it's gaming time. Maybe later it'll be gamer time. Who
Totally
knows?
just didn't forget what he said.
It's
on the last
interchangeable. It's like two. Anyways.
Welcome
get to
back,
the news.
everybody, to the McDoncast. We've got quite a show lined up for you guys today. Starting off with a brief rundown, we got a review for the entire Ms. Marvel series. We got some Evil Dead announcements, Stray, Razor making new hardware stuff. We got Harley Quinn season 3 trailer. We got Yu Yu Hakusho, Netflix. We got Rob Zombie news. We got Spunk news. We got so many newses this week.
We only talk about things people care about on this podcast.
We only
right.
talk about the least obscure things on this podcast.
There is no time.
We
wasted.
talk about the things that we know that are going on.
Definitely have not wasted much.
It is as we were recording this. It is currently 107 degrees outside here. in
Dude, it was
Texas.
109 when I was at the Chick-fil-A.
Yes. It is
And
also.
we're in a garage.
And then
Yes.
add the heat index.
We're in an uninsulated room, so it gets very hot in here.
The air conditioning is fighting for its dear life right now.
Yes.
I can just see Max's microphone like when he hits it around on the
Oh,
bar.
you can hear it.
Yeah, Max,
he
you gotta
moves
not
it.
do that.
Or just use the shock mount that
Or
it
just
came
hold
with.
it still in one place.
It's not important. Anyway.
So as I'm recording, it is Tuesday when we're recording this. This will probably go up on Thursday.
Mhm.
So when this goes up, Comic-Con will have started,
Yes.
but we don't know any of the Comic-Con news yet. But next week, that'll be the crazy episode because we'll have all of the Comic-Con news. So this is kind of, there's not a whole lot this week.
But we're about to get a whole
but there
bunch
will
of
be
announcements.
too much next week. So we're going to try to get through this all so we don't got to worry about anything else when we roll around to
Yes.
Comic-Con. So to get started, though, let's talk about the least viewed Marvel Disney Plus show,
But highest rated Marvel
but
Disney
on
Plus
Rotten
show.
Tomatoes, the highest Rotten Tomatoes score.
Is it the critic score or the fan score?
critic score?
Yes.
Well, that means very little.
No, the
to me.
critics are always the correctest people on that website.
That's right. They have no biases.
No, Disney doesn't pay them any
Mm-mm.
money.
They never
Why
have.
would they do that, guy?
It's not, yeah, because you could totally legally. That's perfectly fine, and that's not. There's no problem with that.
But
But
morally,
Disney would never do that though.
but morally,
Anyway,
Disney could never do wrong.
we are, of course, talking about Miss Marvel, which just wrapped up last week.
Yes.
A series that was pretty good. Yeah, Disney decided to do their best to bury for some reason.
Yeah, the series was actually like, it was way better than I expected it to be. I was expecting this to be like an absolute mess, but it was like actually just a completely perfectly fine, passable Marvel product.
Yeah, this is like not. It's not. I mean, it's pretty good. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
It's not
decent.
Moon Knight.
They
but
okay,
it's not
so I
Eternals.
guess starting the show, I guess we'll give a brief rundown of the plot.
Mhm.
I guess spoilers for Miss Marvel, although nothing
Already?
really happens.
Oh.
So we start off with Miss Marvel. She's living with her family. She's in a Arabic family, so she's feeling like a little bit like she can't do the things her friends are doing. Like she can't go to Avenger Con with her friend and whatever else. She's also bad at driving. That's unrelated, but they bring it up a lot.
Like once or twice.
It's like they bring it up like once an episode.
that's a little frequent for.
But yeah, so she's grown up, and then eventually she gets a magic shoebox from Pakistan, and then inside the magic shoebox there's a magic bracelet, and she puts on the magic bracelet, and that
And
unlocks
her magic powers.
unlocks. To be very clear, it does not
Her
give her powers.
mutant
They
powers.
explicitly state that so that we know in the future how her powers work. But the
Mhm.
magic bracelet unlocks her powers, which seem to be, for the most part, the ability to create crystal structures at will from her
She
body.
has Green Lantern powers, but they're big purple crystals.
She
instead of-
has Star Sapphire powers from Green Lantern, which they couldn't,
which are just Green Lantern.
which are just
powers,
Green
but
Lanterns,
purple.
but they can't make like refined structures. They can only make like chunks of stuff, or like big versions of very simple objects.
Sweet.
So she can do that.
I'm glad
Uh,
they did it unlocks her powers. I hate it when it's like, oh, I got this Now I have God power. This is cool, guys. I'm
Well, then
stronger now.
anybody with the bracelet could have god powers. This
Yeah.
makes
Yeah,
it
'cause
so
that- yeah,
that
that's
it's
annoying.
just her.
If you want to watch a show where a bracelet gives you god powers, watch Ben 10. This is
Or
not Ben 10.
Shang-Chi.
Anyway,
He's really good at kung fu before that, though.
so yeah, she goes around. Eventually, this evil group called the clandestines, who are refugees
Aliens
from another dimension, who somehow got stuck on Earth. They never really explain actually how they
They
got
got
to Earth.
banished or something.
They were banished to Earth via somehow.
which is now the fourth canonical way you can travel the multiverse. Or
You just arbitrarily get
you
banished.
just get shoved through a portal.
So anyway, long story short, they're on Earth. They want the magic bracelet because if they get the magic bracelet, they can turn our world into an extension of their world, and that means they can go home, sort of.
Really, they're just gonna make another home on
And
top
their
of this
powers
planet.
mostly consist of we punch good.
Yes, they're
I did
very
not
good
watch
at
this show, and this makes very little
Now,
sense.
I watched the show
Kamala,
and it
Miss
made very
Marvel,
little
is
sense.
the descendant of one of these clandestines, and because her ancestor is from their universe and her other ancestors are from our universe, that means she can tap into the matter of their world and shape it using the physics of our world. That's how they explain her powers. That's important because there's another character who is genetically similar. He's also the descendant of both worlds, and he, at the end of the show, is also revealed to have
He
the same
doesn't do a
powers.
whole lot.
But he pretty much just runs. It's not important. Anyway, so that's how that all works.
Anyway,
Then they fight. Kamala beats them, and then they leave.
how would you?
And now mutants are a thing in the
yeah,
MCU.
we'll get to that in a minute. That's probably the biggest thing out of
Yeah,
the
that is the
show.
biggest twist. We'll get to that
Well,
in a
there's
second.
really two, but anyway.
So what is this our third time doing mutant?
So
or...
she is canonically a mutant. They
Okay, well
explicitly
that's so
say it.
cool.
Yes.
When are
Now-
we gonna add the Inhumans?
I
to
love how
canon?
they're not doing that. They're just gonna replace them with mutants, which is what they were always supposed to be. Anyway,
Well, so the Inhuman, for those who don't know, before we get into anything
Marvel
else,
history lesson time.
So, the old head of Marvel, Ike Perlmutter,
the comics, not the
no, just the whole company.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a whole lot of history with this, but
there's a lot of corporate politics.
But in the
involved.
'90s, Marvel went bankrupt because their comic industry was flailing, and as it does
Flailing.
constantly, because no one who leads it has any.
no
idea
one
what they're
buys
doing.
magazines,
And really,
so-
because it's almost an entirely dominated market by two companies,
Yeah.
so there's very little competition or variety. Anyway, that's not the point. So Marvel went bankrupt. That's people know the whole. They sold off all the TV and all the TV.
That's
and movie
why
rights.
so many different studios own different characters. That's why Disney can't make Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
That's why up until recently Disney also couldn't make
Yeah.
X-Men movies.
But that all happened, and the company and Marvel was bought by a company named Toy Biz, I think was the name. But that company was owned by a guy named Avi Arad, and the other guy was named Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter became the head of Marvel, and Avi Arad became like the head of all the creative stuff.
yeah,
Really, his job was just to incorporate toys into everything, which is where Secret
he
Wars
was the
came-
marketing guy.
which is where Secret Wars came from.
Yeah,
Ike Perlmutter. So when Fox and Sony started making Spider-Man and X-Men movies in the early 2000s, Ike Perlmutter got angry and decided that they were gonna lower the presence of the X-Men and Spider-Man in the comics and heighten the.
because when your company is bankrupt and two of your series get really popular, what you want to do is stop making them.
Well, he wanted to lower their presence because they couldn't make the movies out of them, so they didn't want to
Yeah.
promote the movies they weren't making any money off of.
yeah,
So he introduced the Inhumans, which some people are gonna be like, actually, they were introduced in the '60s. They were barely in those.
they were
comics.
in the '60s, but they had completely
The
different
mo-
origins and powers.
The modern version of the Inhumans was introduced in the early 2000s, and their job was basically just to be the replacement X-Men.
yeah,
But they were much weirder and lamer and less popular.
they had the okay. I'm sorry, but the Inhumans have the lamest powers of. They might even be lamer than the Fantastic Four. Their queen is a woman who's can move her hair around. Awesome, cool. How is that interesting to anyone ever? Their king is a guy who can't talk, and when he does talk, it just explodes everything. So you can't really explore his character. You can't emote
He does sign language.
that no one else understands because he made up his own sign language.
Anyway. Anyway, so then Kamala Khan was introduced in the early 2010s, and so while they were pushing the Inhumans, they made her an Inhuman. And the creator came out and was like, "Oh, she was always going to be a mutant,"
But the studio pushed for her to be an
but
Inhuman.
the studio pushed for her to be an Inhuman,
Which
is why
makes
that
perfect
was.
sense.
And so now, because Kevin Feige has the rights to the mutants again,
Hold your mic straight up because the microphone is. In the
Oh, I'm
front.
so glad Kevin Feige has those.
because the Kevin Feige has the mutants now, and also because when they tried to do Inhumans as that TV show, it was horrible and a
There's an
epic
Inhumans
failure.
show and it's bad.
No, there isn't.
It was bad.
There was never an Inhuman
There
show.
was
Wait.
Agents of Shield.
Why didn't
No.
No,
New
there's an
Mutants
Inhumans
go
show.
anywhere? That
There was
such a
also
good
Agents
movie.
of Shield.
Yes,
Yes.
but that just had one Inhuman.
They
in
were
it.
on
No,
both.
not at the end.
They don't count. That's the point.
Basically, so now we're doing mutants.
New
What
in the-
about
Mutants
New
movie
Mutants?
canon.
Now we're doing the mutants in the MCU.
Oh,
Which
so-
the weird thing is that in this show, when they discover that Kamala's an Inhuman at the very, very end.
Mutant.
Oh, sorry, a mutant. They're interchangeable because they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is the mutants are born with their powers, and the Inhumans are sort of born with their powers, but they have powers.
They have to
from
be
a
activated.
from a magical mist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So mutants.
Basically, the Inhumans have a big. They have a big like they have a city on the moon,
Mhm.
and on the moon they have a bunch of mines, and in the mines they extract the magic like
and they
crystals.
force anyone who has bad powers to work in the mine.
So basically, there's the royal family who oppresses the citizens, and anyone who doesn't have cool powers or doesn't look pretty, they force to work in the mines. And the royal family is the good guys. Those are the characters you're supposed to be rooting for in the
Oh.
yeah.
And the villain is the guy trying to overthrow the royal family and get all of the people out of the dirty mines. You're supposed to hate him.
He's an
The Inhumans
anti-hero.
is a very contrived and poorly written series.
Yes, but the weird part about this reveal was that when they reveal she's a mutant, they're like, you have some sort of mutation. Like it's like a first time
So
discovery.
her best friend is talking to her like in an alleyway, and he goes, "There's something else about your family, though. When I compared your DNA to their DNA, how did he get their DNA? Who knows? But when he compared their DNA,
Stole
he's
their
also just
spit.
like a high schooler who apparently has access to medical grade
at
DNA
this
testing
point,
kits.
Anyways,
Anyways.
half of the teenagers in this universe are like super geniuses.
So he's like, but your DNA was different. There's some sort of mutation. And then when he says that, the music that like plays when he
From
says
the
that.
New Mutants.
put in
No,
the
no, from the X-Men show from the 90s.
Oh.
they put in the theme.
You know, you know when Professor Xavier came out in Multiverse
Yeah,
and played
yeah,
that little chime?
Yeah.
It was that.
Oh, good.
But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that from what we can infer from that is that the mutants are not an established presence in this universe already,
Mm-hmm.
which means they're probably gonna make the X-Men like form.
They're gonna X-Men Next Generations it or whatever it was. Remember that one? Or, no, X-Men Evolutions. You know that
Like,
cartoon?
But what do you mean?
The X-Men
uh,
Evolutions cartoon?
Vaguely.
So basically, like everyone in the show is basically a teenager, save for Wolverine and like a couple other characters,
Yeah.
because for whatever reason, like humanity is starting to evolve at this point. There have been other mutants, but they're not as common. But now humanity is getting pushed to the next level.
Yeah, though that's
and that's why you're starting to see these mutations, because in response to all these crazy threats from the universe, the human genome has started to evolve and it's producing mutants. That's the excuse for
what
why
if
that's
all
happening.
the people who got snapped and came back caused a
50%, and Kamala wasn't even snapped, so that doesn't make
but
sense.
some of we don't know whether or not she was.
We can infer from the
That would
fact
make
that
50%
all
of
of
the
her
people-
friends are the same age
No,
as
but
her.
that's what caused some of them to, because there has to be
would
some
make no
sort of explanation
sense.
for why there hasn't been any mutants before. and
Okay,
there's gonna
I'll
be a bunch of them.
explain it right now, the way I just did. For
I
a
know,
second
but
ago.
that is
Tucker, it's
Just
so
for no
easy.
reason.
They can just go.
That's fine. They don't really need a reason.
They can just go. Oh, it's weird. People with powers have been showing up. It's like a mutation, and then they can just say that.
anyway. The point I'm trying to
It
make
can just be a
There are
sudden
is
thing.
that
mutants.
instead of having
They're
my
mutants.
guess is instead of having Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and like the X-Men already
Mm-hmm.
pre-existing, they're gonna then have that all be established whenever they do the X-Men movie or
So
whatever
they'll
they're
Avengers
planning
it.
on doing it. I think the only thing they'll do is have Magneto and Professor I think what they're going to do is have the mutants have already existed, but because, of course, as everyone knows, they're a dated metaphor for racism in the 60s, they're going to have them all be in hiding and like not out as mutants because they don't want to be oppressed by society, which won't make any sense, but they have to do that because that's the entire metaphor for the mutants in the comics.
See, I don't think they have to do that. I think they could just do the Xavier School for gifted youngsters. Just start off where he's older. There's another older team that's comprised mostly of the original members, and they're tasked with bringing up the next generation of mutants.
You could do that if mutants were already a thing.
Just say they were already a
Yeah,
thing.
just say they were
But
like
then how
hiding.
come none of the characters are aware that they're mutants? Or that this X-Men team has existed in any of the other movies?
They could just say that Shield was like
They were
hiding
doing
them.
their own thing.
They were fighting crime
No,
in
they could
another
just be
city.
like-
But okay, but that's the excuse for why every solo Marvel movie happens. It's like, why don't you just call Thor and have him smite the Winter Soldier?
No, they
because
could
he's
just-
busy doing his
No,
own
no.
thing.
But that
They could
makes
just have a thing.
more sense than being like, there is an entire group of superheroes who have been presumably fighting crime for at least a couple decades, and we have never bothered to
No,
call them for
'cause-
any emergency, and no one's ever
Okay,
seen them
say,
or met them.
say it's just right now. It's just Xavier and the like original few X-Men, and they could just explain it by having it so like Shield was like hiding them as a secret
Shield's not a
thing,
thing.
or like
Shield's gone. Shield's been gone
yeah,
for
and then they
14
could explain
years.
why. Like
What they could
they could
do,
figure out some way.
they
to do it.
could
It's not
do
that
it
hard.
like, who do you think has been cleaning up after y'all's mess? And then we just have
Damage control.
no, but other than damage control, because damage control is kind of like really stupid and basically just a worse version of the FBI.
In this, it is.
Yeah.
In the comics, they're literally just like a group of janitors.
Okay,
who
I'm
clean
not
up
talking
damage.
about like literally fixing buildings. I'm talking about
like
dealing
fighting
with
street level crime.
yeah, dealing with the
That's what
like
they're to-
societal aftermath of an Avengers battle.
they could just have it
Oh,
so
they're
like
just a
Iron
group
Man
of
knew.
super therapists. What are you talking about?
No,
the
like
societal.
Okay,
aftermath.
so let's say Sokovia is mostly exploded, right?
yes,
What are all those people gonna do now?
who cares?
Probably start stealing and looting and blowing up their
So yeah,
stuff.
street crime.
Yes. So the X-Men go in and they help deal with that and get
No,
society
okay.
back on track.
Here's
They
what they're
could
gonna.
just
I'm
say
just
that-
coming up with ideas that
They
they
could
could
just
use
say
as an
that
excuse.
Tony Stark knew about them, but he didn't tell the rest of the team. He has like
Why?
I don't know because he has.
He did a lot of
knows
things
everything.
where there was
He has,
just
like,
like no
tons of
real
Well,
reason.
satellites
okay,
and
that
random stuff.
explanation is that he's drunk half the time.
Yeah.
But
He's
anyway,
a good guy.
here's what they're gonna do. Charles Xavier will already exist, right?
Yeah, he will definitely.
He'll be a
have already
public
exist.
figure. He'll have a school, but like the public will just think it's a normal like boarding school. But like secretly that's where all the mutants are,
Yeah.
or like all the kid mutants. And then the plot of the first X-Men movie will be like the mutants like coming out, stepping into the light as the X-Men,
Yeah.
as like a superhero fighting team because the world's in chaos constantly. So that's what that'll be. I'm just saying that like we can infer from this that they're not going to do a thing where they're just like, oh, the X-Men were here the whole
So
time.
here's what they could do. They could do it with random mutations start happening throughout the world, right?
That's what I was saying.
Then, those people with random mutations, some of them start doing bad
They
things,
could
right?
just explain
That creates general disdain for
they
mutants
could
around
say that
the world.
the snapping and like the coming back, like
So I haven't finished what I was saying yet.
awoken some
That's
kind
what
of
Tucker
thing in
just
them.
said.
I
We already
that.
said that earlier.
We did.
Yep.
Yep.
So back to what I
That's
was
a good
saying.
idea,
bef-
Tucker.
Thank you, Patrick.
So that could create general like societal unrest. Then we see Professor X step up as this character who's like, I don't know, he's like important. He basically becomes like the MLK for mutants, where he's like being like, we should be accepting of these people with their gifts. I can teach them a better way. Send them to my school. Then we have an excuse for the school to exist. We have an excuse for people to generally not be super cool with the mutants being around. It's pretty easy to just do that.
Yeah,
Well, they could just we're hiding.
that's what I think.
No, but
they're
we
gonna
don't have to do that. They were hiding. We can do that just starting to appear now. And he steps up as a figure who's like, I can fix the problem. And so people just
No,
generally
But
trust
I
him.
You know
think-
what I think they could do though is they could be like they were hiding and then they saw like, the Avengers and more.
But if they're
Super's
just,
coming.
why are they hiding though? We don't.
Because they
because
don't
of
want-
racism.
But why would? If we go with the explanation I just gave, there's an actual reason for
Well,
them
I think-
to
I
be
think
wary
you
of
don't
mutants,
need to
not just you just are cooler, so I just don't.
I
like
don't think you necessarily need it to be that specific.
If
though.
you
I
go
think
with
it,
the Thanos thing, though, it would make sense just because now they.
Patrick,
exist
we're not
and they've
talking about
been
the reason
before.
for mutants. We're talking about the reason for the X-Men not having been a thing yet.
Oh, because Because Disney hadn't owned them yet.
Yeah, that doesn't really work in the context of their world.
No, I'm saying you don't need to necessarily have it be that specific for like why people don't like them. I think you can just have it be explained that like it's the same reason that people like fear Superman in a lot of things. It's just like there are a lot of people around with that level of power.
I think we
But
should get back
because
on
we are
track.
scared of
But
that.
because there are so many mutants, you can have an example where that happens. Because if they have no reason for... Because that's why that Superman thing has always been dumb. He's never done anything, like, super evil. So why would you think that?
Okay, Sam.
Whereas in this world, because there's such... I mean, look at the Flag Smashers. They, like, barely had any powers, and they freaking caused, like, a world economic crisis. Like, just... It takes one or two mutants to ruin the name of all mutants, and where then you have a plot for the movie.
But
what you're providing is an explanation for like why they were in hiding, but it doesn't give them a story to go off of.
okay, all I'm saying is that the mutants, whether or not you like this, were always a metaphor for racism.
I know. So let's continue that.
Wait. They were a metaphor for racism. Racism is never rightfully justified. And so you need the hate for mutants to be irrational and like not specifically justified by certain events, or else you're giving the racist characters a reason for what they're doing.
That's
or they
what
could just make them all like Miss Marvel, where they didn't know they had
But
powers
not all
until,
mutants
like,
are the
Xavier
same. That's the whole
taught
point.
them.
Not all people are the same. That's the whole metaphor of the mutants.
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but there are
think
bad
we need
mutants
to-
in the X-Men universe.
I think we need to get
And
back
that
on
is
track.
why not everyone likes the X-Men or the
But
mutants.
they're already okay. When they reveal that she's a mutant, Kamala Khan goes, "Oh, that's just another label."
Yeah.
So they're already
They're going that
teasing
way.
that factor. So I'm just saying that's why I think they're already going to have existed. Because Charles Xavier needs to have existed for a long time. One, because he needs to already have the relationship with Magneto, and two, because there needs to be a reason for him to be the leader of them.
Okay, wait, I have an idea. So let's say the school has already existed for some time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Rather than Professor X being like teaching them to be a team, he's been teaching them to keep their powers a secret, to like repress themselves. And the school sort of operated in an underground situation where parents of mutants tell other parents of mutants, like, hey, there's a school where they'll teach your kid how to fit in. And that's like the general. And then he has to learn. It's more of a Professor X arc where he has to learn to teach these kids to be more than what society
Or
expects
they could
of
do
them.
like
What if they
Mob
just do it in a
Psycho.
different universe?
Because that makes no sense.
Yeah, what?
And
not?
doesn't connect to what we're talking
They
about.
can make like
We know that Miss Marvel is a mutant and takes place in the MCU. So,
What if she changes?
so that doesn't help us in any
She
way.
just walks like a
She
cross
just
bridge.
leaves.
they could do like Mob Psycho, where it's like sometimes
can
you
go
don't
with,
know you have
Portal
powers and you
Girl.
like unlock them.
And they can.
Oh, do you think
America
they're gonna have
Chavez.
Portal Girl be a mutant?
She is a mutant.
Is she?
Well, how did she get her powers? One day she
Multiversal
just
energy?
got them.
I mean, that's
She
the
was-
explanation they
That's
give
how
us.
X-Men
playing-
get their powers.
she
One
was
day they
playing
just get
Portal.
them.
She was playing
She
Portal.
was
the game.
scared of a bee.
And she's from a universe where mutants already are a thing. Professor X
Well,
is
maybe, I
in
don't
the
know.
universe she's from.
She's not from that universe.
Or what?
She was
What
from a
universe?
random.
Right, they didn't go to her universe. Presumably, the X-Men are probably in her universe, though, or
Do you-
some form of them.
Do you think it's weird that the first mutants we've seen in this universe are, well, not even in this universe. The first mutants we saw in these movies are one from an alternate dimension and two, a character who was never a mutant in the comic books.
Yep. What was America Chavez? How did she get her
Not
powers? in the
America. I'm
comics?
talking about Kamala Khan.
Oh, well, unless
'Cause we don't know America Chavez. I don't know what her origin is in the comics, but I
okay,
don't
but we
think she's
we know what her
mutant.
origin is in the movies.
Yeah, random
and-
powers from nowhere.
That's how.
Okay, but you're
mutants-
just saying you're inferring that, but they have not
because
confirmed
there's
that.
okay. Yes, I'm inferring that based off of,
It could be
that's
magic. It could
obviously
be,
what
it
it
could be
is.
magic.
but some mutants have magic powers.
I'm just saying it could be a million different things for why she has powers. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It could be cosmic energy ball.
If
I'm
we
glad
take
the,
her
I'm glad
origin,
the universe isn't too convoluted.
if
No,
we take
not at all.
if we take her origin at face value from her memory, which, well, I don't know why we wouldn't, it can fairly reasonably be inferred that she is a mutant because her parents were obviously surprised. By
I'm just
that
saying that's
event.
one of the options. There's a
Yeah.
million. Everyone in this universe has powers from a million different things.
Yeah.
The Fantastic Four are 100% going to get theirs from Big Space Cloud, and they're never going to explain that. So
I see. With the Fantastic Four, I think they might just skip over their origin entirely. I think we might just start off.
they're
with
going to
their
have
team.
to at least give us like some
They'll
No,
allude.
like
They'll allude to it.
oral
Like they'll be
history.
like, "Oh, remember when we were in space and got powers?" But they're
Yeah.
not going to show it.
I don't think they're gonna
Do
show
you think
it.
that's
no.
because people are sick of origin movies? Or
I think it's because the last
uh,
2 times they attempted a Fantastic Four origin movie, it was a horrible, colossal failure.
So what do you just do with those characters like after origin?
They're just already here.
They just do their stuff.
Yeah, which is why I think they're gonna do that trapped in the quantum realm thing.
But that's kind of like
Because that's
starting
an explanation for why they
that's
weren't
kind of
there.
what
Yeah.
DC did. They rushed into making their big group movie before everyone got a solo film.
Well, they're never gonna give the Fantastic Four members a solo film
Why?
You know how boring
because
it
they're
would
all
be?
way too boring on
Patrick,
their own.
Well, except for the Fantastic Four solo film that they're making.
No, I'm
Patrick,
saying
you know
like,
how boring
no,
it would be
each
to watch
character
the
getting
Yeah,
I
I
mean
thing?
each one.
yeah, we're not
No.
we're not
Patrick-
getting a
Patrick.
Invisible Woman TV show.
Yeah.
Invisible Woman, the show. Yes.
Patrick, you remember the Hulk, the movie, the
Yeah,
solo
great.
movie?
Great.
Imagine that for the Thing, who is less interesting than the Hulk.
So okay, here's why.
I love that movie.
Here's why those two things are
Hulk
different.
with the,
The Justice League and the Avengers were teams of pre-established characters that came together in those
Yeah, that's
comic
the-
books.
Yeah, but the thing
The
we haven't
Fantastic
established
Four
these characters.
were
always a team.
always a team. Their first
Um,
ever comic book, they were a team. They have always meant to exist as a group. Whereas the Avengers are made up of individual
Okay,
characters.
that's fair.
Patrick, you were holding the microphone and not even close to the correct place.
All right, anyway, let's
The
move
point
on.
Is,
Overall,
we barely talked about the show.
there's not that much to talk about really
Okay.
with Miss Marvel.
My-
It's good. It's decent.
I like the very start and I like the end for the most part.
Mhm.
My only problem is the middle. It takes a little too long to establish the villain,
Yeah.
and then they wrap her up like a little too quick. Like
Yeah.
like it's I think there was probably a version of the show where there wasn't like a big main villain,
hmm
because the show it starts there isn't one at all.
Well, yeah, when the show starts, there's no real antagonist.
And then in the middle there is one, and then at the very end there's a different one. I think they probably could have just done it as Damage Control was the
Fuck my
villain the
phone.
whole time.
yeah, because also the damage control arc never really went anywhere. There's the one like racist lady in damage control,
There's always a racist
and
person
like she just sort of gets over it and leaves.
and leaves.
Can they just stop making
Okay.
villains? They're only made.
But that character's not even a villain. She's just
I
like
know,
a
but,
character
like,
in the show.
The only reason I think it's funny is because it's always like they're trying to murder children and also they're racist. I'm like, dude, I get it. They're bad. They're trying to murder children.
Hey guys, I joined this.
I'm not only a child murderer, I'm also a racist.
That's true. But with this example, it doesn't really work. 'cause-
I
it's
hate
whatever.
children,
Yeah.
and I'm.
yeah,
She's
we've
e-
said that 3 times now.
She's evil woman in suit, and her job is to have
yeah,
a
she's
squad
just
of people
she's not
shoot
even
at them.
evil. She's just mean.
But she does get fired at the end of this,
Yeah,
though.
intolerant fired woman.
Intolerant fired woman.
Whoop.
Did
Simply
her
put
character
on
have a
my
name? What?
No.
No, I don't have a plug.
I mean,
Like
she
on that?
probably has one, but they didn't say it. It's probably like Officer Jenkins
yeah,
or something.
Officer Miranda.
But I just thought it was weird that I just thought it was not the villain wasn't handled very well, and they weren't very visually interesting either. to
No,
counteract
like they
that.
didn't have any
were just-
powers at all, other than the one, like that's the son of the main.
I'm kind of getting
antagonist.
tired
This
of.
was like looked like kind of the budget of a Disney sitcom.
It very much had a more
it was
like
probably lower.
yeah.
No,
No,
I don't think it was that much lower.
not than a Disney sitcom.
Well, it was less
Oh, not that
episodes.
I'm saying like than the rest of the other Marvel shows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, much
'Cause-
because they didn't really have to do.
because
that
they
much.
spent like
It also
$12
had-
million no, not 12. Sorry, like a lot. Million.
This one also had a much heavier reliance on VFX for all the powers than the other shows did.
probably
Like with the Captain America Winter. What was that show even called?
Falcon
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. With that show, all of the powers were just strong dudes punching and guns.
Well, yeah,
What about
In
the
make
show?
Moon
them-
Knight, all of the powers were strong dudes punching and guns. In this one, all of the powers were magic space crystals.
Moon Knight was a pain. I mean, do you see all the VFX in that, like with Oscar Isaac and whatnot? And the costume, like
And-
the
Well,
outfit.
I'm-
WandaVision
no, okay,
and
that's not-
Loki
yeah.
also though.
I just think this was cheaper because they didn't film this on location anywhere. Everything,
Everyone was in a studio.
all the Pakistan stuff was a backlot. Like
Yeah.
they were to just like Atlanta to film all the Jersey City stuff.
I
And
will-
also, it's not none of the casts are like huge
Big
names.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to pay Anthony Mackie or Jeremy Renner or anyone.
You don't
like
have
that.
to pay full AAA
No.
actor prices.
It's a lot of unknowns.
And you know Jeremy Renner's expensive.
So you can. He is, Max.
He's actually very
He
expensive.
costs a lot of money.
That's why I downloaded the Jeremy Renner app.
But then also, like, a lot of that show was filmed in New York City, and
Yeah.
it's super expensive. To
This
do, so,
this
like,
show I also think was this next to WandaVision, I would say probably the most visually interesting of the MCU
yes,
Marvel
I did
shows.
like
by
Loki.
far.
good direction.
Loki.
Good direction.
Like
I
there's
thought that was very strong.
especially it kind of dropped off towards the middle, but towards the beginning and end, like especially like there's scenes where like she's texting people and like the blank like stuff in the background is forming the text bubbles and stuff like there's a lot of cool like
Yeah, I
visual,
like
things like that
It's
that I
very,
just
like,
found more.
stylized.
whenever
Yeah, it's much more stylized
when
than the other
she's
shows.
in Jersey City.
Mhm.
It's like very there's a lot of visual flair, but then when she goes to Pakistan,
It sort of drops
it's
off
a little
bit.
drops
Wait,
off
she
a little
goes
bit.
to
Like
It
when
gets a
she's
little
in
more
Jersey
just-
City, like the graffiti and stuff
Yeah,
is moving
it's
around,
moving around,
in
there's
context of like
animation.
conversations
That's
she's having
cool.
with friends.
Yeah.
There's a lot visually going on, and I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fun camera tricks.
Okay, something that they forgot about. She was a YouTuber at the beginning.
Yes.
and they just forgot that she was a YouTuber.
Well, but whatever. Who cares?
It only took place over like a.
What is she gonna stop in the middle of a fight to make a YouTube
know,
vlog?
maybe
No, but
she
like they
quit.
could have brought it up at the end or something.
She quit YouTube because she got too busy with fighting
Yeah,
crime.
With
now
fighting
she's
crime.
fighting
Hey
crime.
y'all, I'm a super secret superhero, and here's my identity.
Speaking of, she's great.
Yeah,
Amon Villani, she's like
She's perfect as this
never
character.
done a TV show or movie before. Like, and she's very, very good in this.
And she clearly
That's a
understands
Great find.
the MCU
It-
like world. Like
Yeah.
she gets
Yeah.
the sort of like half goofy, half serious vibe that the movies try to maintain.
Did you like?
Unless it's Thor. in
Unless
which
it's
they go
Thor, and then
full
they forget
goofy.
about the serious
Yeah,
part.
and then Taika Waititi decides he doesn't care.
And he
Um,
goes,
Did you see all those posts where they were like, people like, it's a full-on comedy, guys. So you should just turn your brain off and just not think about it. I'm like,
That's kind of what I did.
That's
But
probably
I
the
do
best
that
way
in
to enjoy
every
the movie. So.
so.
I don't think ever.
Anyways, okay, what would we say Captain Marvel?
You don't
Captain
think
Marvel.
while you're
Miss
sleeping.
Marvel is
Why-
score-wise.
Well, before we do that, why do you think this one was not as viewed as the other ones? Do you think it was just like the time?
I think it was a combination of a few things. One, it was sandwiched between other big
Yeah.
Marvel shows that were going on with Obi-Wan, which kind of overrode a lot of its hype.
It was right behind Obi-Wan, and then after Obi-Wan finished airing, it had like 2 weeks
Mhm.
on its own, and then they put Thor the week of its
Yeah, so-
penultimate episode.
Also,
it
no
really
one-
just got its hype kind of crushed. The other thing, Miss Marvel is her comic books sell very well, but among the fans, she's not a super well received character. I think that also kind of like compared to like Iron Man and Thor, like all the big she's not a big name character.
Right.
She's very much a lower key character, and she
Would you say she's more popular than Hawkeye?
no.
see. I don't know.
Not
Because
right
Hawkeye-
now.
Because if I like
Hawkeye's
walked
had
up,
more time in the movies, which are immensely boost his popularity amongst the normie crowd. Whereas comic book fans, yes, Miss Marvel's probably more popular amongst that crowd,
Yeah.
but among the general populace, I'd say
Yeah.
more people
Yeah.
know who Hawkeye is.
yeah, because Hawkeye's like Avengers.
I think she just needs. I think this show had low views just because this is a relatively unknown character in terms of general audience awareness. This is a character whose name is also very confusing for the general audience. Is she Captain Marvel? Who is this character? Why does she have the exact same name as another character that already
Why
exists?
is Captain Marvel not here if her name is Miss Marvel?
Yeah, so
Also, I
I
think
think
this was
I
also
genuinely think the
advertised-
name hurts the character quite a bit when it comes to this
She should
show.
be named Embiggen. Did you like the part where she
No.
said
Yeah,
Embiggen
she just randomly says Embiggen for like
and
no
then
reason,
makes big
and then makes her
energy
hand big.
legs?
Yeah, I don't know. That was
Also, I
weird.
think this was
Why'd she
definitely,
say
like, a
in
more...
Biggin?
Because that's her
Power
catchphrase in the
comic
comics.
book is called Embiggen.
So they were making fun of it?
No,
No.
she just says it.
She says it even though her powers aren't
She
that.
says it during like the most serious part. Like clearly it wasn't meant to be a joke.
I
She
also
just says it
think
because that's what her
that,
powers are called in comics.
was targeted more towards younger audiences.
Yeah,
so a lot
obviously.
of like, because like if you're like a 40-year-old dude, you're like, oh, Moon Knight, that's cool. But
Yeah.
you're not gonna like sit down and be like, oh yeah.
Well, this
Miss
is a
Marvel,
different
my favorite.
audience. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not bad.
Which I think is fine if they're gonna make these for different audiences.
Yeah.
that's probably a good idea.
Mhm.
My only problem with it is that you have to like have the budgets be comparable to the audience you're targeting.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna aim towards a younger demographic, you probably shouldn't have that one cost as much.
Yeah,
well,
'cause
to be fair,
as
this one did,
WandaVision.
at
It
least
looked fine.
apparent from our assumptions,
Yeah.
did probably cost a fair bit less than the
Needs to
big, the
cost as
heavy
much
hitter
as a
shows.
I mean,
CW
8-year-olds-
Like
Olds-
WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier clearly had the biggest
I think
budgets. of the
WandaVision
two.
was the most
and Loki.
expensive one.
Those three
Or Lo-
clearly had the biggest
Loki-
budgets.
Loki was probably
Ewan
the best.
McGregor probably made as much as this entire show cost.
Oh, on Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
He,
But again, that
he
makes
was
sense
the
given.
producer on that.
So I would say in terms of budgets, those three, WandaVision, Falcon, and Loki, were
Loki.
I
probably
think-
the most
yeah.
expensive. Obi-Wan was probably more expensive than that. And then there's Moon Knight somewhere in between Miss Marvel and those
Yeah.
three.
I think the WandaVision and Falcon and Loki all cost more just because those were filmed during COVID.
hmm
That jacked the price way up because of all the millions of COVID
Yeah.
protocols they had to pay for.
Well,
as
they
well.
And
also
Miss
set up the
Marvel is
volume.
also a relatively new character to the comics.
Yeah, she's not. She's a.
I
Really
think she
recent
came
creation.
out 2015.
It was like 2011.
somewhere
It
around
wasn't
there.
that- It wasn't that.
It
short
wasn't
ago. It was
not
a-
super recent, but compared to
it's-
the legacy
yeah, I
characters,
think she's been around for like at least.
she hasn't
10
been around
years.
for a super long time.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
heck, even Moon Knight's been around since like the 70s.
Yeah.
Like she's a fairly newcomer to
No.
the universe of
But,
Marvel.
I am more excited for the Marvels, or at least more open to seeing it
I like
with her in it.
Yeah,
Monica Rambeau.
Because
Monica
like-
Rambeau was a
Monica-
super fun
yeah.
character. I
That-
like her a lot.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel, super fun character. She like her a lot. There's another character,
Yeah.
but hopefully the other
That's-
two bring it
What
up.
about
these characters
Captain
are
Marvel?
because these characters
That was her name, right?
I don't like her very much, but all the other ones good.
because Miss
Monica's
Marvel
chill.
and Monica Rambeau are charismatic and like fun to watch, and Captain Marvel's just like mean.
He's like Hayden Christensen, but
disinterested.
a
No,
girl.
no, no,
Not
no,
really.
no.
Hayden Christensen had a lack of emotional like
If
expression.
Hayden Christensen thought he was the best thing to ever walk the
See,
face of the planet,
here's the
then
thing.
he'd be like
Miss
Captain
Marvel
Marvel.
and Monica Rambeau, they're like, hey guys, I'm here to help. I'm gonna fight for good. And then Captain Marvel's like,
I'm gonna
yeah,
show up because
I'm
and
better
then
than
save the
all
day,
of you,
I'm better
and
than
I
you,
can
yeah.
do anything I want.
And I know it.
Yeah, her
Oh, yeah.
personality is just like rude.
I'm
I'm
very
cool- no, it-
arrogant.
her character's like, I'm cooler than you, and I know it.
yeah.
And the problem is, in the Marvel universe, she is stronger than pretty
Yeah.
much everyone she comes across. So that doesn't. It comes off as very like it's the same exact problem that Thor had in his new movie. He is the coolest dude. So when they go around saying I'm the coolest dude, it comes off as
it
very
just makes you less likable.
yeah. It comes off as very unlikable and
It's like
braggy.
if Flash Thompson got a solo film.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time Thor goes, oh, another classic Thor adventure, I shoot myself.
All right. Well, that was
Captain Marvel's gonna go. This is a classic Captain
classic
Marvel
Captain
adventure.
Marvel adventure. Alrighty, I think that pretty much sums up our thoughts on Miss Marvel and mutants
Whatever
in the
the
MCU.
hell they're doing.
I think that pretty much we had a good discussion. We covered the way that Marvel is bringing in the mutants. We talked about that for a little bit. We got our thoughts out about Miss Marvel and just the MCU shows in general. I think that was a good overall wrap up of our thoughts.
Now
on
let's
this
talk
show.
about I Am Groot. Do you think it will?
Alrighty, moving on to
Is
gaming.
Groot a
You
mutant?
guys gotta say it with me. Gaming
Gaming
news.
Remember when the segment was called
Gaming
Gaming
Time.
Time?
It was.
No, it wasn't.
At
At one point,
I do not
I
remember.
think
that.
it was
so.
always labeled Gaming News in our
We-
docket, and then
You put on
we
the
always
projector. You put gaming
Gaming
time. But that was like we told you that it was not that, and you just never changed it.
We once made it. We were gonna.
We used to do PowerPoints in like the first in
Not
like the
even
middle
first.
episodes.
This
Anyway,
podcast has gone through a lot of different iterations.
yes.
none
Anyways,
of them good or
and the
positive.
content is just as bad.
We've
Starting
had
things
4
off,
different
Evil
sets.
Dead, the game, Army of Darkness. That is the title of this game.
You put this in, right?
Yes, this is the trailer for.
This is not a game. This is an update for a game.
Yes, it's an update for a game. It's an update for Evil Dead, the game called
They're
Army
adding-
of Darkness,
Adding-
which is an Evil Dead movie.
yes.
Yes.
But they did a trailer for it.
Yes.
They're adding Army of Darkness stuff to Evil Dead the game.
We
So
can pull it up.
presumably now you'll go to a castle, and you'll fight some skeletons, and probably
Game.
Evil Ash with a robot hand. Evil Ash doesn't have a robot hand. You have a robot
I don't
hand.
want the Ash. I just
Ooh,
want
I
the
can't-
trailer. There it is.
Have you guys ever seen Army of Darkness?
I have not.
No.
That's a good one.
Did Sam Raimi direct this game?
No,
Why not?
he is not involved.
Well, he should be.
I don't
involved.
think so. at
Oh,
least.
that's loud.
That's very loud.
Good.
Copyright strike.
Good.
Don't want to get that copyright.
So yeah,
strike.
there they is fighting
It's
fighting
like
an army of darkness.
Dead.
What?
Max, that's a different movie.
That's not even.
That's a
That.
Zack Snyder
It's like
movie.
an army of darkness.
That's I said that when it
That's
started.
what the movie's called, buddy.
Whoa, it's
good
like
try.
a car.
Is that from the movie?
I've
Tucker,
never
I don't know
played
anything
the
about
car.
this movie.
You need to watch Evil Dead.
Oh, it's a new weapon.
You need to at least watch Evil Dead 2. Because
No,
Evil
I
Dead
know
1
what
and
makes
2
it.
are the same movie. But Evil Dead 2 is just much
Stab
better.
someone.
Army of Darkness
Same
is not
reason
as
you would
good.
stab someone with any other pointy object to kill them, probably.
Basically,
Spikes
at
on
the
it so you
point
can
where
really
Raimi
wax
was
it.
making Army of Darkness, there was very little horror elements left
Oh,
in the
that
movie.
looks
It was
like a
new
basically just an
premium
action
outfit.
comedy with Bruce Campbell doing wacky bits.
Like having a chainsaw hand.
Yeah, well, he does that in the second one. But
Yeah.
there's more of it in this. Actually, no, there's less.
No,
Because
he's got a shotgun in this one,
He's always had a shotgun.
but he talks about it more in this one.
That's true.
All right. Anyway,
Dang,
That's
it
all
looks
fun,
so
that's all
Evil
fun.
I think
Dead.
that's supposed to be Evil Ash.
all right, and moving on to our we didn't have a lot of gaming trailers this week. That's pretty much it. Moving on to game announcements. Warframe developers announced their next project, Soulframe, which is, according to them, the announcement they put out is supposed to be similar in genre to Warframe, but it will take place in a medieval setting.
So Warframe's in space, right?
Warframe is like Destiny, but
Okay.
it's the same.
So it's in space, right?
Yes.
And this one is in medieval times.
Yes.
So for whatever the third thing is, modern times.
Okay. So
Fighting
Tucker?
each other with
Warframe-
iPhones.
for context,
Please never talk
was in
again.
development for roughly like 20 years before it came out, and it's been
Were
running
they
for
making it on the
about a
freaking
decade.
NES.
Huh?
Never mind. Just keep talking.
It's been running for about a decade. It was in development for so long before that.
This is a MOBA.
It's like
Tucker,
Destiny.
Stop talking.
It's-
So it's an online FPS.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I don't know what.
but
this
there's
is.
also swords. It's like an online FPS, but there's like melee combat as well.
Okay.
And they're making a medieval version of it. That's their next.
So they're gonna take away the guns, presumably. It'll just be swords.
No, they'll probably have crossbows.
So they're getting rid of the guns.
Yes, probably gonna get rid of the guns.
Now it's just swords and guns that shoot one bullet and are less
Alrighty,
accurate.
next up, Halo Infinite's network campaign co-op test flight is live.
Okay. What?
So the
Network campaign co-op test flight.
closed beta for the campaign co-op is live.
Okay. Because wasn't it a big thing that they didn't have campaign co-op when the game came out? Despite the fact it took like 5 years to make.
8 years.
Good job,
8
guys.
years to
Way
make
to
this
go.
And it's still not done.
Remember when they sold the campaign for $60 because the multiplayer was free? So essentially, they were charging you $60 for a single player campaign.
No, they were charging you $15 for a subscription to Game Pass that comes with Halo.
Yeah, I know that's what you do.
No, that's what that's what Microsoft wanted. That's why they priced it that way.
But if you were to buy the game, you are paying $60.
If you were
for
to
a
buy the
campaign.
game in the traditional sense that
Yes.
most normal people do, yes. But if
Yeah.
you did what Microsoft wanted you to do,
Yes.
then yeah, it would be you'd just buy it on Game Pass. Yeah, so that's fun. Can't wait to maybe play that with.
You won't.
someone-
Don't act
I don't
like you
know.
will.
I can play.
Maybe I'll
Halo
play it on
Infinite
stream.
now.
It'll be fun. All right, and Stray is released on PlayStation and PC today, actually.
Ooh, I want to play
So-
that.
Cat game.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that
it looks
we'll
cool. I
pull
wanna
up the
play it.
trailer for it. This game actually does look pretty fun.
I was looking forward to this when they
You think
announced
that
the
killed the
PS5
cat? You
stuff.
think the cat dies at the end?
Yes, Tucker, the
No.
main character probably dies at the end.
Just like every good video.
And then
game.
you can never
Yeah.
play the game ever again.
And they can't make any sequels. Yeah, Tucker. The main character's
You're
gonna die. at
so
the-
smart, Tucker.
Cats don't live that long anyway.
Cats
so-
live long enough to make 2 games.
They can just
Maybe
say
a different cat in the next one.
they could just
Any
say that
cat
the
can wear a
robot device
backpack.
keeps him alive.
So yeah, this game actually does look pretty fun. It looks
Pretty fun.
genuinely well made. The graphics look good. The
Remember
cat,
when they announced this?
the cat
I
looks
was
fun to
like, that
control.
looks cool.
Does the cat have a gun?
Yes, Tucker. The
I don't know,
cat has a
Tucker.
gun.
Look at the cat. Does he look like he has a gun?
Yeah, usually.
Oh.
usually
Oh yeah,
in
yep,
games
there it
when-
is. You can see in his paw right there. He's got a Glock.
He goes.
Cat with
For
a
gun.
For the audio listeners, we're watching the trailer, and the cat is just sitting on the floor and does not, in fact, have a
I
gun.
want to play
The
Patrick's version
cat
of this
can
game.
indeed
But
not
yeah,
hold a
the game
Glock.
is now out on PS5 and PS4.
I want to play
I want to
Patrick's
play it.
version, Cat with a Gun.
So that looks fun. Maybe I'll buy it on PC. We'll see.
Is it on PC? I don't think
It's
it's on.
only
I
on
don't think
PC and PlayStation.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's on
I didn't know if it was
PlayStation.
only on PlayStation.
It's on PC as well, according to the announcement they made today on Twitter that the game was. on
Just
PC.
keep going. Max
Anyway.
is wrong.
I would know. I'm PlayStation.
I am PlayStation. I am the station of play.
I am the game.
All right.
actually.
On to our business news. Sony has
Yes.
finally finalized the deal with Bungie, officially acquiring them for approximately $3.7 billion.
So after
What does
Microsoft
Bungie make?
Bungie used to make Halo and currently makes
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2, and that's it.
They-
Woo! PlayStation.
This was their big acquisition to counteract all those giant Microsoft ones.
Mhm.
So Microsoft bought like Bethesda and Activision, and then Sony was like,
We got Bungie.
"We got Bungie, guys."
You guys remember them? They used to make Halo for you.
It wasn't
They
for
don't
us, though.
anymore, though.
They make that free-to-play game that no one likes.
With DLC that no one buys.
Good thinking.
Good thinking.
$4 billion
We-
for that.
We have decided this worth.
$4 billion for that.
Excuse me, sir. We could invest all that
That's
money into
worth more
games.
than
Oh.
the GDP of most countries.
Destiny. Just think about that.
They could have donated $3
Destiny
billion
2 is worth
to,
more
like,
money
a
than the
really
country.
good charity. No, they bought a game studio that does nothing.
Oh, Max, they make one game no one likes.
They make one free-to-play game that no one likes.
No, they'll just.
They'll have them do something.
They're gonna have them do something.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they're not gonna just like be like, "All right, keep making Destiny."
You know what they'll do?
Making Destiny.
They're gonna have them make a Halo ripoff, so they have a Halo type game.
No. They're gonna make a battle royale game set in the Destiny universe.
I think we're past the battle royale.
Oh, we definitely are, but they don't know that yet.
I think so.
They'll figure it out when they make that game.
Sony didn't really delve into the whole battle royale
Exactly.
thing, I don't think.
This is the perfect chance.
Oh,
That's
guys,
more of a
guys,
Dip your
guys,
toes in a decade after the trend is over.
Destiny 2 Fall Guys.
Cause see, Tucker,
Thanks for
Sony,
shushing everyone to
you
say
forget,
that.
Am I
It
right,
ain't
guys?
common.
is
Am I right?
owned is a Japanese company, right?
Yes.
They still use fax machines instead of email for most business.
Yes.
So they probably haven't heard of battle royale games yet. So by the time they figure that out, they'll make this one.
That sounds more like a Microsoft move. It'd be like where you're just doing.
No, that
battle
sounds
No,
like
see,
a Nintendo
Microsoft
move.
has a problem. They just don't say no when people come up with ideas. Sony never comes up with ideas.
No, they'll have them work on. They'll have them work on like a infamous reboot.
Yeah, they'll do something. Who knows? We'll see. It'll be interesting, or
They'll
it won't.
make a-
Maybe.
Or they won't do anything, and they'll fire all the employees, and it'll just close.
They'll make
And then
Destiny 3.
in the other gaming business news, Razer announces a Stream controller, which is set to compete with Elgato's Stream Deck and will launch in the fall. So Elgato basically has a monopoly over like stream hardware, like hardware for streaming. So it'll be interesting to see a new competitor enter that space. That's really the only reason I
Razer.
put
They're
that on
making
there.
a capture card.
It's not a
It's
capture
not a
card.
capture. It's
Like not even at all. What do
it's
you
like-
think a
It's like
Steam
the
Deck
thing you
is?
hit with the little
How
buttons.
is that your first
Oh
assignment?
wait, you mean what?
It's a Steam Deck competitor.
Oh, you put
a Stream
Stream
Deck.
Deck.
Yeah, it's a Stream Deck competitor.
Oh,
You know
so
what a
they're-
Stream Deck is?
Oh, so you're making a stream? They're making a Stream Deck?
Yes.
That's pretty much okay. Great. Who cares?
A lot of people care.
Razer
Anyway,
makes everything.
on to TV news. Harley Quinn season 3 trailer. We can get that pulled up. I mean, it's
I don't want
Another
that
one.
it's more of the Harley Quinn you know and watch because you have HBO Max and there's nothing else on that show.
Put on pants.
I don't. Yeah, this is the one day ago. Okay, so this is the one they made a few. Yeah, like
Dang, she's
like
so
yesterday.
wacky.
When was did the last season come out like 3 years ago or like 2 years ago?
I think it was two. It's not. It hasn't been that
I
long.
don't think it's been that long.
Yeah, so
Anyway.
they're here in clearly in Wonder Woman's invisible jet. Yeah, bird go splat. Hope that doesn't age restrict the video.
Yeah, might do that.
Oh, there's
Oh,
more
that's gonna
splatting
do
of
it.
people. Well, okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, we had the Evil Dead thing too, so yeah.
That's fine.
So yep, they're getting the gang back together to do some crime. The main plot of this season is Poison Ivy wants to like destroy the whole city and replace it with plants.
which is always her plan.
And Harley Quinn is like, that's nice, but like I don't want to kill everyone, and so that causes a rupture in their relationship. Also, the plant guy can fly
Drama.
now, I guess.
And
The Joker's
here.
also still there.
Oh, he's running for mayor. I think that's.
Yeah,
what they
yeah,
said.
so
Yeah,
in order
that's gonna age.
to look good for his new family. He runs for mayor because he's married now. It's like some
Good
random
for
woman he met.
him.
Yeah, that's going on. Anyway, yep, Harley Quinn season 3.
Comes out
If
at
you
the
like
end
the
of
show,
July.
if you've watched the show, you'll probably like season 2. It seems to be more of the same. All right, on to announcements. We have quite a few announcements in the TV news category today. Starting off with the most sad one. Yu Yu Hakusho has been
I don't know what that is.
it's an anime from the 80s. It's a lot of people it's very beloved.
Okay.
It was announced that they're getting a live action adaptation. Unfortunately, that adaptation is being done by Netflix. So
Netflix.
if you hate watching shows, new show for you to watch. If you like watching shows because you like them,
What if
I
they hit
apologize.
this one out of the park?
Netflix.
They won't.
Stop it.
Name
What
one
if this
time
one
they
is so
did.
good?
Stop it.
It
Netflix.
won't be.
No, but like, what if this is the one time they just like nail it?
See, people thought that was
Then
gonna happen with
maybe
Cowboy
it'll be good.
Bebop, and then they didn't. So, no, I have
I
no
think
faith.
the only one I have any hope for is the One Piece one, and that's only because they literally built an entire town.
That's because they have a guy that
for the
like
props,
seems like
like-
actually passionate
And this is
about
why
it.
Netflix has no money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Netflix,
will be
I
bad.
have
Please
news about.
stop
Want me to
it.
read that off?
Read what off?
There was news about Netflix failing horribly.
Sure, yeah.
That's their favorite.
While we're talking about a soon-to-be Netflix failure, why not
There
just
was a
go all
lot
the
of
way?
Netflix news this week. Okay.
All right, well, should we just...
So they lost 1 million subscribers in Q2,
Good.
which is fun.
Well, how many do they
Which
have
is
now?
probably because
They
Stranger
still have
Things
more than
ended.
everyone, right?
220
It's because
something.
it costs $24 a month now and not
It
like...
does?
And everyone finished Stranger Things and Outer Banks.
So well, Q2 wasn't. That doesn't count.
Yeah,
Q3. That's the
he's
dog.
trying to open the door.
Yes, as she is attempted to do all day. Anyway, they bought Animal Logic, which is the animation studio that did the Lego movies and Happy Feet.
Interesting.
Ooh, Happy Feet.
They're expecting to gain subscribers in Q3.
They won't.
They're
No, they
Everything
will,
on
'cause Stranger
Netflix for
Things.
one.
They're thinking
low
they're going to gain 1
price.
million, which is probably accurate. Everyone who dropped it will probably pick it back up when Stranger Things comes out.
Yeah.
They're delaying the launch of their ad-supported tier to early 2023, and they think they're saying they're gonna stick with that binge model instead of the weekly posts.
Here's my question.
of the episodes.
For
Good
their
choice, guys.
I
ads
prefer the
tier,
binge model.
Is their ads tier just gonna be like
They're gonna. What do you mean?
140p, like one's
It'll be the same as
like
Hulu.
normal?
They're just gonna copy what Hulu does.
Max. It'll be
Well,
cheaper than the
no,
other
but
ones.
Hulu doesn't do like resolution.
It'll be
Their
like
tiers.
1080p,
Netflix
probably one
basic,
screen.
Sam. Netflix basic is $9.99 a month.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and look what it
$10.
comes with.
No
But-
HD viewing.
Mhm.
That come on, guys.
Yep. All right. And
See,
so
that's
no
what I'm
one's gonna
talking
buy that
about.
one, are they?
Okay,
That's what I'm talking
Standard for the
about.
past 15 years. Yeah.
Okay, and then Netflix standard is $15.49 a month.
Yes.
And
And
what
you
does
get-
that come with?
And you get two
Well,
screens.
let's see. HD viewing.
Mhm.
Ooh,
1080p, not
a
4K.
standard.
That is the improvement from the first basic tier.
YouTube gives you that for free.
And then
If
there's
we lived in
premium.
about-
giving you that for free.
YouTube gives
For-
you 8K for free.
Yes.
If we lived in
Premium
2005,
gives
that'd
you
be really
4K and 4 simultaneous streams and HD viewing. Standard gives you 2 simultaneous.
So they're locking basic
two
features that every
things-
other streaming service offers at a base price
Behind a massive
behind a
paywall.
massive
It's not like
paywall.
they have to pay the studios that make TV and stuff to like up the quality that they film in.
No, but
They already film
it
in,
costs
like-
more to host.
to stream content.
Yeah, to stream higher resolution.
which it doesn't
content.
cost.
Doesn't cost
There's
$1
no.
million.
It doesn't cost enough for that
It
to be
doesn't cost
justified.
nearly that
No,
much.
but
that there is an increased cost to doing that.
no.
Is there a student version? They don't have a student
No, they
version, do
don't.
they? Well, they
I think
should.
do they do the no? Who does the Spotify bundle?
Hulu.
Is that
It's
Hulu? That's Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the ad supported tier. It'll be the base. It'll be the worst tier.
It'll be
like $2 cheaper, and it'll have ads. So you'll be able to watch one screen at a time in 480p with ads,
hmm
and it'll cost as much as Hulu with ads does, and that you can stream stuff in 4K.
Yeah, I'm watching Breaking Bad. I think they're walking right now. I just can't really tell. It's in 140p. There's
Thanks,
actually
Netflix.
And it
big
also
pixels.
means that all of their future
Why are we
shows
losing
are gonna have
money?
like weird fade to black things in the middle.
They're
of the
gonna have to
episode.
start adding ad breaks.
Yeah.
into it, which is funny because that and their current content, like if you're watching older stuff, it's just gonna stop.
Yeah.
And you'll just see an ad for Wendy's.
Netflix knows how to run a company. All right.
Yes,
Oh,
of course.
An
They
animated Powerpuff Girls reboot, I guess another one,
the second one.
is in the works along with the original creator. That makes this one different. The current
Craig
reboot
McCracken is
does not-
actually working on this one.
Yeah, the most recent reboot did not have the original creator involved.
So this is gonna bring the total number of Powerpuff Girls reboots
To 2.
to, if this one gets made.
Well, did they cancel the special?
The CW one was
Oh
canceled.
no.
Oh, do we have news about that?
Oh, Sam, if you go
We
two
do.
lines down.
Wow,
The
we've
C-
been following this story for so freaking
The
long.
CW
This is in the first episode.
the CW is still claiming that the live action Powerpuff Girls series is in the works at the network. So
Great.
if
CW.
if that ever gets made in any capacity, and if this new animated reboot comes out, which that one is more likely to,
Yeah.
100%, that means there will be 3 different Powerpuff Girls reboots, 2 going at somewhat the same time,
Yeah.
which is so absurdly dumb.
I think at the CW they just have one dude who hasn't slept in like 5 years.
Yes, and his name is Greg Berlanti.
And he just sits there and goes, oh, what if like Powerpuff Girls reboot?" And they're like on crack.
What do we do?
And then what if we make
Nancy
like
Drew.
and then like for the flash finale they can like have lightsabers.
But like, they're really stretching Powerpuff Girls out this much.
Yeah, it doesn't have
I
that
think-
much
Okay, but
legs.
like an animated reboot with the creator seems
Yeah, like making
fine.
more of the cartoon makes that's like I
like if they do
understand
like
that.
a grown-up version and they're like fighting crime and I don't know, there's more drama or something. But like the live action one without the creator, why?
I think the one he is working on is going to be essentially what the live action one is attempting to do,
Mhm.
but just in animation and
Better,
most
probably.
likely way better. Like it'll be them like slightly more grown
They'll
up
be like teenagers now.
Yeah.
instead
yeah,
of
if they're like in
babies.
high school.
instead of
Mhm.
4.
Yeah,
But like that, because that was what
This
the
time-
what the last animated reboot did, was just the original series again,
worse.
but much worse.
Yeah.
And the live action one is something completely separate, barely related, and something so bad the CW has been sitting on
The
it for 2 years.
CW didn't even make it yet.
I don't think.
Do
It's
you know
going
how
to get made.
often they don't make a thing? Do you know how hard you have to? You know how bad you have to make something for CW to be like, all right, hold up, maybe we should take a second look at that. They're making Gotham Knights, and they're sleeping on the Powerpuff Girls show. That's how bad the
I don't
Powerpuff
think
Girls
it's never
show
gonna
had to
get
be.
made. Now that Nexstar owns this, they're just
Yeah,
gonna
no,
fix
it's
it.
gonna get
I
axed.
don't think there's been any active development happen on it in like
Since
2
the
years.
original, like
No, since they
yeah.
shot it.
Yeah,
If they
When they were like, we're gonna rework it, they
stopped
didn't-
working
They
on
haven't
it
done
if they
anymore.
did follow through on this Powerpuff Girls reboot for CW, that would be the CW's like only show other than like Superman
Gotham
and
Knights.
Lois
I think it would be
and Gotham Knights.
at
It would be
least
one of their
popular
like
for a
3
week.
shows.
'cause I
the
think it'd
pilot
be so
would
heavily memed on.
the pilot
Yeah.
would get fairly decent views because it would be such a
and then it would
huge
drop
meme.
off and get
And
canceled.
yeah, then immediately everyone would forget about it. All right, an animated Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends reboot is aimed at a preschool audience, is in the works with the original creator Craig McCracken.
He's doing both of these.
All right,
So he couldn't find a job,
and he's doing
and
the
so
old
now he's
stuff.
bringing back his 2 most famous
It will
characters.
follow a new group of characters at the house. Okay. Yeah, we did that. An animated series adaptation of the video game Grounded is in the works. The story follows 4 friends who are shrunk to 2 inches tall and must learn to survive in a towering backyard that's a jungle full of predators hiding in a vast corporate conspiracy. Yeah, okay. I mean,
Did this game ever come out?
it is almost done. The game is out. You can play it, but the story campaign
It's not
doesn't
finished.
come out for
So
another
this
it
is-
doesn't release its final chapter for I think another month.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game.
It's it's Mr. CEO I Shrunk a Family, and they're fighting for their lives against ants.
Sounds
in
like
the
a
backyard.
horrible M. Night Shyamalan movie.
And the twist is the
I don't know.
ants
I
are
mean,
aliens.
the game-
No, the twist would be that they were never small and they were just in a really big research laboratory.
The
That's-
corporation's
are
just
really,
really
yeah. If
big.
it was M Night Shyamalan, that's what.
That would, you know what the twist of Old was?
Yes,
It was that they
was
were
just
like
like
an
a
evil
medicine-
pharmaceutical company testing drugs
by
on-
rapidly aging
because
people
they found a magic beach that read
that magically
so
ages
stupid.
people. It was. We're not here to review that. Yeah. All right. Interesting. The Boys. What is this? What's going on with my mouse here? Okay. The Boys spin-off series is officially titled Gen Y and will follow.
No, that's a V.
That's a V.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a
Gen
twist
V.
on.
Like
And will
Compound
follow
V.
a group of competitive young soups who will compete for the best contracts with the best cities, all while putting their moral boundaries to the test.
I'm really sick of the.
So this is gonna be like a needlessly gory and overly sexualized version of My Hero Academia.
So you know how the Boys is like half the boys trying to take down Vought and half just superheroes doing
Horrible things to people, yeah.
reprehensible things.
Mhm.
This is going to be a whole show of just the horribly morally reprehensible
Yeah.
things,
Really sick of.
which is kind of the
it's just
antics of the
not-
show I'm tired of.
It's just the same thing again and again. And everyone hypes it up again and again, and it's not good.
What
The
a good
Boys
take.
itself needs to end with this next season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needed to end this season.
No, honestly, I like how they set up the next season. I think they have a lot of interesting pieces in place.
They've pretty much narrowed it down to there's one goal, and they've been like pushing it off as the main goal.
Well, because they still have no feasible means of achieving said goal.
Yeah.
Because the whole plot of the I know you didn't watch it, but
I
the
haven't finished it.
the whole plot of the most recent season is Starlight is now a fully fledged
I've
member.
seen the first couple. Episodes.
She is trying to recruit other members of the Seven and other superheroes to make a team to fight Homelander. He figures this out, kills everyone except Starlight for some reason, who's
But
like
she's a main
making the
cast member.
team. And then while that's going on, the boys go to Russia and find Captain America knockoff. And apparently he was secretly, I guess spoilers for the boys. We've already talked about it though. He's secretly they used his DNA to make Homelander. So he's like basically the same. He just can't fly and it doesn't have laser eyes, but otherwise he's basically the same. And so they're like, well, we can use him to kill Homelander. Oh, he can also shoot out a big burst that takes away your powers. Like we can use him to kill Homelander. But then that plan doesn't go right, and that's how the season ends.
Yeah, but like I think
she's fast.
I think but the whole goal of season 4 will be we gotta kill Homelander somehow.
Yeah.
And like if they just keep pushing that off forever, I think it's gonna get really, really tired.
Yeah.
Especially since like Homelander has like consolidated himself as like the only real villain at this point.
Mhm.
Like there's not a whole lot else for them to do other than just kill
No.
him.
They have the senator character now. There's a character who was she was
Yeah,
the DA
exploding
of
head
somewhere.
lady.
Yeah, she had the power to explode people's heads. She's now, I think, the vice president or something. So that'll be a thing too.
But 4 seasons is enough. Anyway.
4 seasons is plenty of boys. Yeah. Alrighty. I think that pretty much wraps up TV news. On to movie. Why does this just say movies and not movie news? All the other ones say news. We're not
Shush.
watching movies.
Shut up.
Anyway, on
This
to
podcast
movie
is gonna
Why
be
news.
can't
8
you
hours.
spell?
I didn't write any of this.
You did it,
I don't think so.
Sam. What's the first one?
Rob Zombie's Monsters.
No, the second one. I mean,
Ben Affleck married Jennifer
okay,
Lopez.
that's not how you spell Affleck.
I didn't write. I copied that and pasted it from somewhere. So
Oh,
it's
they
not really
can't
my
spell
fault.
Ben Affleck.
Alrighty. Rob Zombie's Monsters got a trailer, so I guess we'll watch that. It looks really bad. though.
So I think this intentionally looks bad. I hope.
What they say can't.
I think part of the joke is that he's Rob Zombie and he did like Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, and he's making a movie adaptation of a goofy sitcom from like the 60s, which they kind of do in this trailer. Oh yeah, he did make Halloween.
And those other things you mentioned.
I did mention those as well. But the main difference between this and the sitcom is that this is a prequel and this one is in color.
This is a prequel to the sitcom.
Yes, but it's in
That
color.
no one has seen.
The sitcom?
Yeah.
I think old people have seen it.
Why
I
is
mean-
this in such low
Because
resolution?
the Wi-Fi in
The
here is
Wi-Fi
very
is
bad.
glitching out. It wasn't a normal
Mm.
resolution 2 seconds
Man,
ago.
I can almost make out.
But
It's 140p, baby. There it goes.
There
Now
it
it's
goes.
normal.
Oh, now
But
it
the
looks
the
really good.
lighting is really weird and like offset.
There's too much
doesn't make
stuff
sense.
in the front of the camera.
Yeah, the cinematography's so flat.
The costumes.
I think this was
Mm.
supposed to be in black and white. And that's why the
Maybe.
colors are all weird.
yeah.
Because when you're doing a black and white thing,
you have to light it weird.
the makeup and the colors and the light is all just like random, just so
Yeah.
it can look really good in those two, in that like that contrast. In this one, I think they probably shot it meaning for it to be in black and white. And then the studio was like, well, no one will see a movie in black and white. Can you make it in Technicolor? And that's why it looks so weird and cheap and bad.
Yeah.
It's going to lose money.
Yeah. All right. I think we've seen enough of that.
You think,
Yeah, that looks bad.
did Adam, because obviously I think the Munsters was always supposed to be a ripoff of Adam's
It,
Family. right?
yeah, it was a ripoff of the Adams Family.
Like obviously it's like Frankenstein.
like a
and-
worse ripoff of the Adams Family.
Obviously, like Frankenstein was before the Addams Family, but I
Yeah.
think like the whole they're spooky and they're a family.
Yeah.
That's obviously what they were trying to rip off.
The spooky
Or
family.
If we're we don't
The
know enough
spook-
about these franchises. If this one came out before, then
No,
Adams Family.
the
did-
Addams Family was a like a comic strip in like the early 1900s.
Okay, then
before it was
we're
ever a
right.
TV show.
We know.
It was way before.
Yeah.
Munsters was way after, but I think this is going to theaters for like a week before it goes to
Yeah.
VOD. So
Alrighty.
okay, weird choice.
Cool. Weird. On to announcements. Yeah, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez got married. So
Cool.
Why'd they do that?
I don't know.
'Cause
It just like happened.
they're in
one day.
love.
How many times has she been married in the last 20 years?
It's time to play. How often has that celebrity been
Oh
married?
no.
Yep, I stole your
It's
phone.
on the floor.
Is it on
Tucker,
the
where
floor?
you left
oh.
it.
I made a horrible plan to throw your phone on the floor.
His dastardly plan
I know
is
what you've
finally
done,
coming to
Max.
fruition.
I do everything wrong, and my whole life's purpose is to annoy you at every moment.
That's a good life's purpose.
That's what the
Thank you.
That's what the contract says. Let's see.
You
She
don't
has
pay
been
me.
married 4 times
Is this the fifth
since
one or the fourth one?
1997.
Is this the fourth marriage?
This is the 4th marriage.
All right. How many
He
times?
was married to a person named Mark.
How many
Anthony.
times has Ben Affleck been married?
Probably
I think
like-
only twice. Yeah, this is only his 2nd marriage.
Oh,
Although
all
they
right.
did date in I think the early 2000s.
Only a second.
All right. Well,
Hollywood. They have a 99% divorce rate.
yeah,
Actually,
Yep.
Yes.
pretty much. All right.
I think. Hang on. There's one couple that's famous and is still together. Tom Hanks.
John Krasinski
Yeah,
and
but
Tom
Gwyneth-
Hanks and John Krasinski. And
Yeah.
John
Tom
Krasinski's
Hanks and
married to
John
Emily Blunt,
Krasinski are
and
married?
Tom Hanks is married to
What's her face?
what's her face? I don't remember.
I don't. Is she even famous?
No, she is. They're both actors.
Okay.
But like I think those are the only two.
Alrighty. Spunk movie announcement. Madam Web has been delayed till October 6th, 2023.
Sam, you said it wrong.
Spunk?
Gosh, darn
Spump.
it, it
The
doesn't-
C is silent. It's just spum.
Spum.
My
Your
phone
phone
just fell
fell.
back
Yep.
on the floor.
Yeah,
Trust
the,
me, I
the
use my
spum.
telekinesis.
Well, I didn't write this. You wrote this.
I know, but the C is silent
Why is the C silent?
because it's the Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel characters. But it's funnier if it's just spum.
Okay. Anyway, Madam Web has been delayed till October 6th, 2023. Just cancel it. Adam Scott also has joined the cast, and an untitled film has been dated for June 7th, 2024.
Morbius won't stop them. They're gonna keep going.
It's Morbin time, baby.
It's always- I hope that's the Morbius sequel.
I think they did announce that they're making one. It's going direct
No, they're not.
to video or something
No,
like
they're
that.
not doing
They should
that.
definitely make a
really
Morbius too.
do.
They should. They should make Morbius too.
They really should.
Why not?
People would go see it. They go
Nothing
around.
else they're gonna make is gonna be any more popular than Morbius.
That's true.
like Venom is their only character with any cachet.
Yeah.
Which actually that might be what that is Venom.
Yeah, probably.
Because
Venom
they are
3.
writing Venom 3 right now.
Yeah.
Which color Goop Man will he fight this time?
I mean,
Anti Venom.
This
What
time
color
he's
is
red
he,
and
white?
black.
Yeah. That way you get contrast.
Ooh.
Or they'll
Well,
do-
you can't have it be that
Well,
one.
no, because they set up Toxin for the next one, so it'll
And
probably be Toxin.
isn't he
It'll
like
probably be
blue?
both.
Toxin's no. Toxin's red also.
Nah,
No,
it
no,
can't
he's
be
a
red.
mix. He's a mix of red and black.
He's red and black, which
No,
doesn't really help.
Because it's when
No.
Carnage and Venom.
there's got to be a different color.
And then Toxin.
No.
In the comics, it was
Can he-
like
can he-
Toxin hate.
Can they make him green?
No, that's a different one.
No. Dang it.
There's a. There's anti venom.
No, see, he's black and red.
Boo. That's exactly what Carnage looks like.
No, his feet and hands are black. He looks a
Oh.
That's
little.
what Carnage
He
looks
looks
like.
no. He looks a little bit different.
He looks like a
Looks the
Venom.
I'll
same.
show you.
He's blue in that one.
I'll show you.
That's because
Okay. I like it. Well, I guess if he's mostly red, that's better.
Look. See, Carnage is
Carnage is
all
different.
red with a little bit of black, like sprinkled in.
Goopy goop.
He's red in the middle and black on the edges. Very different.
He's gonna
It
look
looks
the
Completely
same.
different.
It looks like Venom put on some.
I
latex
think they're
for
gonna
him.
make him blue.
I don't think they're going to do.
No,
that.
that's-
I think
that's
you're
Because
wrong.
you
this.
can't just make
This
him.
is when that's when Toxin was Spider-Man. Then he had a little bit of blue.
But he can't look the same as Venom.
Yeah, he can.
Well, he can, but you can't have him look the same as
Well,
Carnage.
yeah, well, he can.
You can't have him make him.
I really want us to have more Goop guys in the MCU.
Like, they're
That's
not
what
in
it's
the MCU.
missing. Yeah, that's what Phase 4 has been missing is giant
Goop
goop
men.
monsters. Goop monsters who you can't tell apart when they're fighting, and that you repeatedly use as villains in the same series of movies.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think it's gonna be so funny when they wrap up that trilogy and they've made 3 literally identical movies.
That's fine. That's what the people want.
Good. That was the best part of Venom 2.
Well, okay, Venom 2 was demonstrably better
Okay,
than Venom 1.
Venom 2 was better for 2 main reasons. One, it was a half hour shorter,
Mhm.
and 2, the Goop Man was a different color, so
So
you could tell them apart.
Well, also when they fought, they hit each other.
Yeah, it was
instead of
less.
blobbing into
It was
each
less.
other.
It was less of just like 2 liquids being mixed in a blender.
It was a different
Yeah.
director, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Andy Serkis did that.
Eddie,
too.
there's
Well,
a
I
different color.
Probably won't do
goop
this
over
one.
there. We have to fight him.
There's
Eddie.
another Goo Man. It's my cousin,
Oh
Venom.
no, Venom! I don't want to fight the Goop Man.
Oh, jeez, Venom,
Oh,
old man.
I'm gonna work for the Daily Bugle.
All right. Yeah, Netflix. Netflix is working on more Fear Street movies.
So remember when they did? You
Wait,
don't remember?
have
Why
we
did
t-
they
No,
bother?
what on earth is that?
Have we talked about like the Marvel Studios like CG people? They're
Oh, the ones.
We'll
who
talk
are-
about that in business.
okay.
But anyway, they're making more of those Fear Streets because they were super popular with the kids.
Sweet.
I'm a kids.
Nintendo has acquired the
too.
CG production company Dynamo Pictures and will rename it to Nintendo Pictures,
Of course they
presumably
will.
to work on future projects following the upcoming Mario movie, which
What do you think?
is made by
those are?
Illumination. So
Can't wait for Yoshi's Woolly
I don't really
movie.
know.
And now
why.
Nintendo will never let any other company.
I
make
think
their
it's
movies
more
again.
just to have a label to stick on stuff that
Yeah.
other people make.
I think Nintendo's like,
Well,
well,
they
could've-
guys,
what have they
Sony's
done?
doing
Then they could have
movies.
created their own company. Called
Yeah, I'm not
Nintendo
sure, I'm not
Pictures.
sure.
Well, that costs much less money.
What is
This
Diamond?
is buying one than starting one from
We have
scratch.
to spend more money.
What does Dynamo Pictures do? What do they make?
Mario.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Anime.
Oh, they make anime.
Oh wait,
Boo.
no, but what anime have they made?
I think the other reason they bought them is to do.
Booty
Royale.
Booty Royale. I love that show. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's my
Oh,
favorite
that's
show.
the author is retiring from the industry. What have they made? They made.
So
Oh no.
Author explains that
No,
personal
no,
household
no, no,
circumstances
no.
has made it hard to draw about boobs and sex. Is what that thing said.
Hey, that's totally valid, honestly. All right. They did Erwig and the Witch.
production assistants. They didn't do the whole thing.
They also did the Dragon Ball Superhero movie, which also let me show you what
No,
that
but
looks
they were
like.
production.
Oh, they
Let me
did.
show you what that
But
looks like.
Wait.
They did it on One Piece.
So Nintendo released a press what do you call them?
Presser.
A press release. So they put the purpose
Tucker,
of the...
this is what they made.
Okay, can you hold off on this?
That
real
looks
quick?
great.
This looks fine. What are you talking
It
about?
looks like Pokemon.
It looks like every other Dragon Ball thing I've ever seen.
Except for CGI and it moves weird.
They're like
3D. It
slightly
looks
more
fine.
3D, but they're just like 2D over, so it doesn't even really matter.
It looks a little
It
weird.
just looks
Anyway,
like the cutscenes for the video game.
Yeah.
They made good
Um,
stuff though. They
Anyway,
made some.
oh, Crunchyroll
so
lowered their price.
and Nintendo says that Dynamo Pictures is a company that plans and produces visual content. Nintendo has decided 100% of the outstanding shares, excluding treasury shares of Dynamo Pictures, and make it a wholly
They bought
owned
the whole
subsidiary.
shebang.
Okay, can I just read this thing?
Oh, you
A
can't.
wholly owned subsidiary.
Anyways, guys, let's move on.
Subsidiary.
Subsidiary. Sorry, it's hard to read when I'm being interrupted every 5 seconds.
All right, so what I really
Max,
like
shut up.
about Nintendo,
to strengthen the planning and production structure of visual content in the Nintendo group. So it's not just for movies.
They're going to be doing all kinds of
They're
stuff.
going to do cutscenes for them and stuff like that. That's probably the main reason.
Ooh, maybe
they're
they'll
doing
make a
this.
new Mario.
The acquisition
show.
is expected to close on October 3rd, pending satisfaction of all relevant terms and customary closing conditions. They're going to change the name to Nintendo Pictures Co. Ltd. The acquisition will have only a minor effect on Nintendo's results for this fiscal year.
Maybe
So-
they'll go back to making cartoons.
I think they're mostly here to do cutscenes for them.
Yeah, they're going to be doing touch-up work, cutscenes, and maybe we'll see. We might see like a Nintendo show that's just like a testing grounds for their like stuff.
I think if they do more animated stuff or live action, I think they're going to do it with Universal.
I think we
'cause
could.
They seem to be really good buddies.
I think we could see a Splatoon show
Or like
where-
an anime
where they just test like new tech and stuff for their company here. I think we could see that, but otherwise, I don't see this company.
Maybe
doing a
they'll
lot.
do like
they're not
more-
going to make movies with this.
And I
Maybe
only say
they'll do more
Splatoon just because I
cartoons and
feel like
stuff.
that's a property that's not. It's not massively popular. They could get away with making a subpar show.
I think any major movies or whatever, if the Mario movie doesn't make like $1 billion, they're never going
gonna
to
make
make
another
another
one.
movie again, and I'm really mad about it. But that's totally a Nintendo move.
Yeah.
We'll go see it though because Chris Pratt is Mario.
People
gonna-
will go see.
They're
it
going to
because
be like,
it's Mario.
it did not meet our quality or financial standards. We have decided to never make any visual media again. Everything we release will be in
but-
In
podcast
fact,
form.
video games from now on that we make are going to be just books that we released in text format that you can only read on the Nintendo Switch.
This did not make $500 billion, so we will never make.
We're going to
Any
make
kind of
a Super
content
Mario
ever
radio
again.
They're gonna make
serial and
another-
cancel all other.
They're going to make a
projects.
sequel to the Mario movie. Of course they are.
It'll set up for a million.
It'll be
spin-offs.
called Mario 2 or New Super Mario.
Oh, that would be fun.
Guys,
What if they
guys,
called it Super Mario,
Super Mario Bros.
3D?
2?
3D.
And
What if they just called it
Oh
the
my
second
gosh.
one that?
when they make Mario the movie 2 and call it Super Mario Bros. 2,
It is
the
about
movie,
it is about time for
Donkey,
another
guys.
resurgence of 3D.
Donkey will be so happy when they make Super
Specifically-
Mario
I think
Bros.
we've
2 the
realized
movie.
that 3D just hurts
No,
the
see,
brain.
No,
It's
Patrick.
not fun.
Every 20 years,
does
everyone
come back every
forgets that
20
3D
years.
sucks, and they do it again.
It had a,
We're
not
we're, we're
good.
we're approaching that time where it's
so
coming back.
bad.
it had a resurgence in the early 80s, and then it had another resurgence in the 2000s, and then it's gonna have another
Have
resurgence.
you seen a movie in
the
3D,
Nintendo
Tucker?
Switch 3D
ever?
Yes.
Yes.
And didn't it feel terrible?
Oh,
Most
yeah,
of them are
really
fun.
bad.
The only one I tolerated in 3D was Alita. That one was.
I don't know.
okay in
They just
3D.
make me feel sick.
That's because it's the only
We
movie
saw
you've seen in 3D after
Solo.
like
We saw
2016.
Solo in 3D. when that
Why?
came
Why
out.
would you do that?
I don't think
It
we
was
did.
fine.
It was like an hour before.
Companies keep spending all this money to
It was
make
the
these
only showing
movies
that
in
had seats when we
3D,
saw it.
and they really ought to just stop
No.
because it
No, no,
sucks.
so
Solo in
Nintendo-
3D was really bad.
Nintendo should make okay.
That's
when-
because it
when
was
they
shot in
release
2D,
The
Hang
Mar-
on, Max.
and they mastered it 3D later.
No, it was because that whole movie is like super poorly lit and very dark, and the 3D glasses make it even
yeah.
darker.
I want to see the Batman in 3D.
You won't see the Batman.
when they release the Mario movie, they should have like a big pillar on the side with a switch in it. Down like the
You tried to interrupt me to say that?
yeah. Is.
That's not even a switch; it's a slider.
That's.
We're going to stop
Yeah, but like
letting you
it's like,
speak.
but it's like a 3DS though.
But yeah, no, we are actually because Thor had like a fairly, a weirdly heavy push for 3D. Like the fact that they pushed it in 3D at all was a little weird.
Avatar. That's because
An Avatar.
Maybe if you watched it in 3D.
Avatar is about to come out.
Okay.
That'll be the
You
big. That'll be a
know
big push.
That's going to be a big push.
Okay,
for 3D
but as far
again.
as Thor, I feel like you would watch it in 3D to cover up how terrible the CGI looks.
If it's darker, they won't notice.
Right.
No, I think what I really want to come back is putting 3D in the titles of movies that are on their third entry.
uh-huh.
They did that with Friday the 13th. It was part 3 in 3D, Amityville 3D,
Jaws,
Jaws,
Spider-Man More
3D.
Fun Edition 3D.
Spider-Man More Fun 3D edition for Nintendo Switch, featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series
And Knuckles.
and Knuckles.
All right. Last news. This isn't on the air, but
Yeah.
we did want to talk about it. Apparently, Marvel and Disney in general is just the worst client for VFX artists to work with.
Awful. So bad.
I am so shocked.
Now we
What?
don't have a whole
People are
lot.
quitting and being like, I will never work for
Th-
There are a
Disney
lot of
again.
studios refusing to work on
This
stuff
is
with them.
mostly the news broke on Reddit. It was
Yeah.
it was like an angry Reddit thread.
It was the visual effects artist Reddit thread. And
Yeah,
there was
so
a
we
giant
can't-
discussion going on.
Come on, but it's got to be
We can't
true.
confirm 100% if this is true or not.
Come
But
on.
given
I
the
would guess
circumstances of
Have you
production,
seen their last 2 movies?
given the circumstances of production there, it would make sense that is the situation.
Come on, it's so obvious. Just watch the films. It looks bad. Their deadlines are probably
I don't
way
think
too
Patrick
soon.
really gets why this is a thing. Like, how,
No,
now
they're
that you really
overworked.
get what's going on here.
They're overworked. They have deadlines that they cannot physically meet. It's
Honestly,
just
I think
terrible.
Marvel fans are just too picky right
Yeah, and also
That's not
they
what
have
we're
like
talking about, Max.
they have
No,
a
but I
million
know.
He's making
But I'm
projects.
fun
saying-
of a guy. He's making fun of the thing.
They have a
Oh.
million projects going on at the same
now. No,
time.
I'm just saying like Marvel CGI like dips sometimes, but I think like it's not that bad.
We're not
It's,
talking
like,
about the
watch-
quality of the CG. We're talking about the working conditions.
It's
at the
just so
company.
demanding that there's so
Yeah.
many CG shots, and they're
Because-
expected like the
yeah.
turnaround they're expected to do is just way too
Well,
soon.
apparently the other thing that's happening.
As movies become more like video games, the working conditions become more like the gaming
Yes.
industry. That's what's happening here.
No, because apparently it's been a thing where like Marvel will design like a character's costume and it's all CGI,
Uh-huh.
and so they'll send it to the studio, and the studio will animate the entire movie with that design.
And then
And then
they'll go
Marvel
back
will
and
be
wanna
like, "Oh,
change
we
it.
changed it, and we need you to have it all finished by the trailer on Monday." And they tell them on like a Friday
Mhm.
afternoon, and so then they spend like an entire weekend reanimating all of the shots for the trailer, changing this design by like even like either minor tweaks or major changes.
Yeah.
You can tell they did that with No Way Home because the suits changed in between the summer where the toys came out
Yeah.
and when the movie was actually finished. They changed.
Yeah, but
the
No Way
design.
Home looked good, like the final product.
Hey John, so I
But
know.
again, we're not talking about the
I know,
quality
I
of the
know.
effects. We're talking about the working
I know, but I'm
conditions.
talking about
But-
the quality of the
hey
film.
John, so I know.
I know,
your
but that's not
kid,
related to the conversation.
No,
Your
Work
kid just went
harder,
to the
slaves.
hospital and you wanted to visit him, feeling real bad. I know. You just told me, but could you like stay for the next 2 weeks and never leave and
Thor
animate
needs
this?
2 extra feathers
You know what?
on his
I
helmet.
think the problem, I think the problem is that they're just complaining and they're not working hard enough.
Oh, that's I
That's-
agree with Patrick.
Yeah.
If
what-
they would just not unionize,
what's the
this would be
CEO
so
of
much
what's
better.
the CEO of Disney?
Bob
Chapek.
Iger. Oh, Shane.
You're right, Bob Chapek. We should definitely we'll get right on that, sir.
We'll
It's-
work harder next time.
There's more being pumped into the studios. There's more TV shows and movies than ever.
There's a shortage of these
And
people.
More and more and yeah, there's a shortage.
They're
of them too.
underpaid.
They're not being paid anything, and there is more and more of these movies are cartoons. If you watch any of the behind the scenes for No Way Home,
Mhm.
literally all of it is 6 real actors on a big blue screen set. That is every single scene in the entire movie. If it's
It's like the prequels.
if they're on the Statue of Liberty, it's a blue screen.
Yeah.
If they're at the bus stop is animated. If they're in an apartment, the apartment is animated.
Yeah.
The floor is put in post. Instead of just putting in a white carpet on the ground, they have the animators animate that like 2 months before.
They're
the
like,
movie comes
Okay,
out.
Disney's just like,
Tom?
oh, they'll figure it out in post.
Literally, they're doing the they're all just film
Oh,
students.
Thor doesn't have a helmet on. We'll fix it in post.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, the freaking floaty helmet. Oh,
All right,
but it's
Tom,
not their. It's
so-
not the VFX
Yeah.
fault, artist's fault at
no,
all.
why can't you? It's a helmet. Make him wear a freaking helmet. They did
Yeah.
it in the first two.
If you're gonna have 90% of these be cartoons, then just align the post-production time for them to finish the movie before you release it.
Right.
Just because what they do is they're like, okay, we're gonna shoot this all in February and we're gonna get it all out by November.
You remember Cats?
And so they like,
when they didn't
We don't talk
finish
about
it and
Cats.
they released
yeah,
it?
and so they're like editing it all, and they have the like final cut in like September, and then they're like, all right, VFX artists, finish it up, and they're like, we have to animate the backgrounds of every scene.
And make every character's costume and make every object they're holding.
Well,
This
that's what I
actor
was
wants
like.
his wrinkles smoothed out. We have to smooth out
That's
his
what I was like
wrinkles.
saying earlier. Is like people are like really picky because they don't realize like if VFX artists like everything is CGI and it takes a ton of time to
This
do
is
that.
why Top
But
Gun
that's
was
not
so great.
The thing is, the audience isn't wrong to expect a quality product.
Yes.
The studio is wrong for making the conditions to make a quality product nigh impossible to meet.
Right.
They absolutely could make a quality product, and we know that. They've done it time and time again, year over year. It's the strain on but clearly that strain on the workers is too much, and they need to change the schedule that they are expecting these products to be
Remember the documentary for Frozen 2?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that for everything they make.
That's my favorite Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
I love that show.
That's such a good show.
My favorite episode is the one where
insightful.
they go, "No cameras in here today."
Yeah.
Because clearly they're just about to scream at these people, and they're going to cry.
They're like, we love working for Disney.
We love it
We
here.
love it.
We love it here.
It's so
Never
magical.
missed a release date.
We've never. And we're not going to miss one today.
miss one now.
It's so magical at Disney. It's like we're under a spell to work.
The gun slowly moves into the camera.
It's like we're under out on time.
Back to the slave den. What?
Are you telling me Frozen 2's behind schedule? I mean, get back to working on the happiest place on earth.
All right, Tom, we just need
And
to take a
we
picture of your
don't give
face.
Pixar's
and
Pixar's
we'll
the
put
same
that
thing,
on.
except they don't release their movies in theaters.
Yep, and Pixar's got a whole nother
Finish
problem.
your job by Wednesday or no water.
Pixar's problem is they're quickly running out of ideas to make movies.
Pixar's
I
problem.
think they're trying to make too many movies. They just gotta.
No, Lightyear was the least creative project they have ever produced.
Probably, yeah. I mean, if you don't count like
Think about
Finding
it.
Dory.
No, okay. Finding Dory is more creative than Lightyear by leaps and bounds.
At least people like.
And here's why. Lightyear is based on a character they already made. Instead of coming up with new instead of making a villain, they just reuse a character that they're reusing that they already made. The whole movie takes place on a single planet with no discernible characteristics because that's easy.
It's got big tentacles of
It's
vines.
got
of
random
something.
vines that appear
Uh,
sometimes.
I don't know. They used to just make banger after banger, and they've been slipping. So
No, I mean, no, they've made bangers recently. They made Soul. They made
Coco.
Coco. They made Turning
Inside
Red was
Out.
pretty good.
I
It just
think they're
didn't. No
just-
one watched it.
I think they're getting bad. They're not getting bad. They're getting worse at making kids movies, and they're not making good enough adult movies
Yeah.
for that to like.
No, I just
counteract
watched
it.
Cars like 2 days ago. There's so many like adult things that I
Okay,
got
but
this time
Cars-
around.
Car-
Oh
Cars
my
is
god,
a really good kids because it's
just a really
kid's
good
story.
movie.
Yeah.
But like Lightyear, no, any kid under like 11 is not going to understand what's happening.
I
in the
know,
movie.
but also they're losing the like things that are more adult, except for Soul. Soul was an exception.
Like Soul is also not a great kids
Soul
movie.
was
not.
like an art piece.
If you were a kid, you'd be so. I mean, there's the bright colors, but like
Yeah.
other than that, you'd be like, "What is happening?"
There
Yeah.
was like the fun little side character that was like, "Woody happily, I'm Aquafina," and then the rest of the movie was
that was Tina Fey, Max.
whatever. I don't know, same person.
No, they're
Anyways.
not. Don't say that.
No,
Anyways,
but
yeah.
Soul, I liked Soul.
I'm not saying that Soul was bad.
No, it was
I'm
good.
saying that Lightyear and Turning Red and Soul and Onward to some extent are not great
Bro, I
kids
did
films,
not
Like
like
they-
Onward.
and they're getting worse at the balance.
Onward was
Yeah,
just bad,
but
overall
Onward
in every
just
aspect.
sucked.
And if they would just make their movies like straight up for older audiences, I think they could make them better. But because they're still trying to make them kids movies, but that's obviously not what they're interested in doing.
I think
the
they
whole
should
thing
make kids
falters.
movies.
I think they should. The problem is that obviously none of them
They
want
should
to.
make what they did. Like they should make kids movies that adults can watch and not be bored out of their minds.
well,
That
like,
was what the appeal was, and then
Right.
they
Yeah.
decided they would rather appeal to the adults and then have the adults take their kids with them.
for example, like Turning Red, the problem is that no kid watching that was like 13 in
In
middle
2005.
school in
But look at what
2005.
Disney's doing with their own studio. It's like they're making bangers. They just made Encanto, and
Yeah,
that was huge.
But Encanto,
Yeah, but
is
Encanto
a
was
really
not
good
that
kids
great.
movie.
it's not a good adult movie.
No,
No,
but
it's
it's a
both.
really good kids movie.
I think Encanto works
think?
on both.
It was
Yeah.
mid.
Again,
But it's
Right.
beloved. People like Encanto.
Yeah,
But-
too much. It was overhyped.
okay.
Yeah,
Max.
but so was
Contrary.
Frozen when it came out.
But, like-
right? It's the same deal.
Yeah, but
Raya-
Frozen's not good either.
Raya wasn't.
Moana, same thing.
Shh,
Guys, stop.
Raya wasn't a great movie either.
No, it's terrible.
but it was entertaining enough for
Okay.
kids.
Yeah.
But like that's the problem is that Pixar is getting worse and worse at making kids movies, and I don't know really what started that. They did have a leadership change a few years ago, but I think it's just generally like they're just getting disinterested.
Pete Docter gave up.
I think
Well,
Cars.
Pete Docter just recently came to be in charge, like a couple of years ago, and his
Yeah, and so now
Big
he's not
thing.
actually making the movies.
big thing was Inside Out, though. That was what he worked on, like as his like big return to Pixar, and that is also not a great kids movie either.
It's a great movie.
So I think
Yeah.
he's driving them in the more adult direction, but the problem is that like they're still being weighed down by the fact that they're like kids movies.
But he also did Incredibles.
yeah, he did, but that was a while ago.
And Incredibles 2 is really bad.
And
Well,
Incredibles 2 is not good.
Nobody should claim that was their idea.
That was okay.
That's
That's another example of that movie. I think
That was a Lightyear.
no, that was a Lightyear. But and here's why. They could not have wasted the potential of that franchise
Yeah,
any
even
more than
anymore.
they possibly did. You can't make a less original story than the one that they made in that movie.
The weirdest part of that movie was that they chose to have it be
Like,
right after
yeah,
the first one.
It should have been
like years
a
later.
decade or so later,
Yeah.
with
Kids are grown
Violet
up.
and Dash
You'd
as
have
the
the kids
main
grown up,
characters
yeah.
who also have kids of their own and are sort of going through the same beats that their parents did, be it in a world that now accepts superheroes.
The
as the
interesting
main
thing
twist.
would have been to have the characters be older, but for for some weird reason, they decided to have them be
exactly the same.
exactly where they left off and like have like this really weird plot like set on a boat about mind control. It made no sense.
Oh right.
And they were like, Elastigirl is gonna be the main character
That wasn't
now.
the problem. The problem wasn't Elastigirl. The
I'm
problem
not saying it
the
was. I'm
plot
saying
she
they made a
was
lot
in.
of weird decisions.
Yeah, they made a lot of they did a lot of things for like a seemingly no reason other than because we thought why
Remember when
not?
Bob Odenkirk was in that movie and he played himself as a cartoon?
Was
Uh-huh.
he the like really enthusiastic?
He was the guy
Yeah.
who looked like Bob Odenkirk and was voiced by Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
I don't know who Bob Odenkirk is.
What?
Better Call Saul guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's He was the
I don't know every.
He was the
actor's
guy
name.
whose
He's
sister
the
was evil.
businessman. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sister was his main villain.
And she's like, our parents liked superheroes too much and they died. And
Was
now
that
my
the origin?
That
yeah.
was
and
the
then
origin.
my brother
Right.
now also likes superheroes.
Right.
And that's stupid.
No, I'm
gonna
so I'm
hate
going
them.
to kill
their,
them.
their motivation was like the superheroes used to be like legal, and when they were legal, they could call them all the time and get help, and then they were banned, and then they couldn't call them and get help, and so they died, and so they blamed superheroes for
So
it.
now they want them to be more illegal.
No, but the guy didn't. The guy liked superheroes.
Yeah.
It was just his sister who didn't like them.
The
Yeah.
sister was the evil gas
Mind
mask
control,
lady.
And
Oh,
she
yeah.
invented a
Mind
She was the
control
villain-
lady.
because like the TV. They also wanted to have like commentary about how TV was controlling our minds or something.
Dude, she was
Which
basically
is literally the plot from Batman Forever in
Mhm.
1997.
she was the villain basically
Kids
from
don't
the Batman. Kind of
The
similar
Riddler?
vibes. Yeah.
You're telling
Nope.
Christian
No.
Riddler?
Nope.
Not
Not
Nope.
even remotely
You don't think
similar
so?
in any.
Nope.
Name one way in which they are
They
similar.
wore a mask.
So does Batman.
You know,
Other than visually.
basically Green Arrow. I mean, there wasn't like a
Look,
whole
I'm
lot
glad
of...
you guys enjoy my comedy.
Anyway,
Brendan only has 7% left on his phone. He needs to
He
charge
probably
it.
shouldn't text you that. Then he should.
No,
probably
he
plug
didn't.
his
It's
phone in.
Life 360.
Why do you have his Life 360?
We have a group called Let's Not Die, shall we? And it's or not. Let's not get kidnapped. Sorry, it's just our friend group so that we don't get kidnapped.
Whichever one of your friends proposed
How
that
would
is
you-
definitely stalking one of your other friends.
You think so?
Yes.
how would you know
Um,
that you're kidnapped or not?
Because we're on Life 360. so
Oh,
we
you
can
just
see.
text.
That
Hey
is
guys, I'm
immensely
kidnapped.
creepy that you guys do that to each other. Anyway,
You think so?
yes.
Feels like someone's going to use that to kidnap someone.
I
Hey
don't.
Patrick.
Well,
Yeah,
I can
was
see where
kidnapped.
all my friends
Okay,
are.
Thanks.
Patrick, tell us where all of your friends are, exact locations.
Okay.
No, don't do that.
Okay.
All right. Is that pretty much wraps
think
up everything
so.
for this week?
Whatever. I don't know what this episode was.
It was a good
Great.
episode.
Weekly
We had a lot of good conversation.
Fortnite.
I like when we get
Oh
more
yeah,
into the
was there a new
conversations.
update?
I have
Right?
no idea. I haven't played it
Oh.
in
Added
like
some new
Who
a
knows?
skins, I think. I don't know.
I
I
really
think we're
don't
done
care.
with that. I think Fortnite's done. I think our
No,
Fortnite's
we
officially
gotta
done.
keep the bit going. It's like Morbius.
What?
Damn, that's dumb. It's more like Squid
But
Game.
I don't
It's
have
not
to.
exciting.
But like, I've only seen Morbius once, and I never have to watch it again.
Well, I
Like to
twice.
keep up with Fortnite, you have to keep playing Fortnite.
I haven't played it in
And
like.
It's like
Fortnite is so
Minecraft.
boring.
Yeah.
Oh my
Anyway,
Anyway.
thank you everyone for watching.